The text I'm including in my review is the second chapter of Elizabeth Ellsworth's Teaching Positions, Difference, Pedagogy, and the Power of Address. There are some critical points from chapter 1 that frame the rest of what I'll use and why. To begin, Ellsworth defines a term called mode of address. She states, mode of address is a film studies term, and it has a lot of theoretical and political baggage attached to it. What it boils down to is this question: who does this film think you are? Unquote. She continues, films like letters, books, or television commercials are for someone. They have intended or imagined audiences. So the place a film addresses is an abstract place. As she puts it, it's, quote, an imagined subject position with power, knowledge, and desire that the conscious and unconscious interests behind the making of the film need audiences to fill. Abstractly or not, film seem to invite actual characters into such positions and encourage them to at least imaginatively assume and read the film from there. And viewers appear to be rewarded for taking up and acting from that imagined position as they interpret the film, unquote. By applying mode of address to pedagogical matters, Teaching Positions gives educators another way of looking both at curriculum and instruction from the student's point of view and considering their effects on the students. It allows educators to reflect on their choices in light of the student's position relative to and within them. Curriculum directors and teachers both can ask, who does this curriculum think my students are? And when students encounter this curriculum, who will they think they are? Teachers might also ask, when I'm teaching this way, who do I think my students are? And who do students think they are when I teach this way? Following on each of these initial reflections, educators ought to then ask, is the mode of address of the curriculum or my instruction beneficial to students or detrimental to them? What messages will they internalize about their power, knowledge, social position, self-esteem, etc., either consciously or unconsciously, when considering how they see themselves in relationship to the curriculum and my instruction? Ellsworth's work has specific significance for my research focus in two ways. The first is the impact of students' relative power positions within pedagogical modes of address, and how they impact their well-being. In particular, its ramifications for self-image and stereotype threat. Transferring Ellsworth's points about a film's mode of address to pedagogical modes of address, let's consider what occurs within students when a curriculum and instructional choices seem to invite students into such particular positions. Remember, Ellsworth says that the mode of address, quote, encourages viewers, or in this case students, to at least imaginatively assume and read the curriculum or instruction from positions imagined by the mode of address. And that even if viewers or students in this case don't actually occupy those positions, they're rewarded for taking up and acting from that imagined position as they interpret the curriculum or instruction. So potentially, insofar as students are, rewarded with grades, which they most often understand as the exchange for completing the tasks set out by the curriculum and following teachers' instructions, students will then, whether consciously or unconsciously, move into whatever positions the curriculum or instruction requires them to occupy to receive passing grades. If they don't, they receive failing grades. So what is it that's happening in the student's mind as they internalize either the position they occupy based on what the curriculum or instruction suggests to them who they are, or even worse in some ways, what happens if they have to move out of a particular position of identity in order to have that exchange and extract those rewards and be a student that they don't believe they are, yet the mode of address requires them to be. The second area of significance is even more specific to my area of focus. As students assume their relative positions in the pedagogical mode of address, they're absorbing messages about who the curriculum or instruction believes them to be. So let's consider for a moment the inequities surrounding the uses of ICT, that is, information and communication technology, for teaching and learning among socioeconomically disadvantaged students of color. Generational scholar Jean Twenge has identified a new generation that's emerged since the advent of the internet and dubbed them the I generation, or iGen for short. In the US, Twenge's found the characteristics of this generation cut across all demographic lines: race, class, gender, region. So, what modes of address are disadvantaged iGeners of color who define themselves in relation to their technology encountering when they experience curricula and instruction that make little or no use of the technologies they experience in transformative ways outside of school? What messages about who they are do students absorb, or worse, move into, when curricula or instructional choices that do make use of ICT offer poor iGeners of color experiences that are consistently about basic skill development, assessment, or opportunities to practice low-level technical skills such as basic search, word processing, and slide deck presentations? While a text based in film studies does not seem to be the most intuitive source for a research focus on equity and ICT based instruction, when teaching and learning are considered through just such a frame, it opens up creative applications for topicality, breadth, and relevance of inclusion and exclusion of literature review source material.